We are live. Welcome to CryptoLaw TV. I am the founder of CryptoLaw, John Deaton, and I am today's host. Emphasis on today. CryptoLaw, today's show, let me talk about today's show first. Today's show is about you, it's about me, and it's about CryptoLaw and the CryptoLaw brand that I'm very proud of. And I'm proud of the CryptoLaw team who have helped me. As you all know, we get no money, no sponsors, no monetization. We're putting out this product because we want truth, justice, and the facts, and let you decide. And CryptoLaw is going to have an exciting 2024 as we move forward. We will be bringing on guest hosts and others and expand the voice other than just John Deaton's voice. Something I'm very proud of. I may be the founder, but CryptoLaw is bigger. It's the 75,000 of you that joined us in establishing this thing called Decentralized Justice. We had one show that had 93,000 live viewers watching, and Moon Lambo out there was like, wow, I've never seen that. So I'm very proud of the team, and we did it organically without monetization, something you don't see that very often today. But before we move forward, I want to back up and explain why it was important to establish this brand and establish this service, this free service for people out there. CryptoLaw was really my reaction to gross government overreach. Our regulatory agencies have been hijacked by special interest in this country. These regulators seem to be going to the highest bidder, and it's something that is against America. We're supposed to be about a level playing field and let the most creative and best entrepreneurs and technologies lead us forward. That's what America's about. That's what true capitalism is about. And we know that they've been talking about the revolving door, right? The revolving door that we see in the world. Basically, everybody has commented about the revolving door, but it's just something that they just say, oh, let it go. And there's the revolving door, as you can see, where regulators go to the SEC or another agency, and then they go and they cash out. But it's gotten so bad that they're just in our face, violating basic ethics and conflicts of laws. That's how bad it's got. And it's not just the SEC, it's the FDA. I mean, we had a chairman who was the chairman of the FDA on a Friday, and shortly thereafter, it's Monday morning, and he's on the board of Pfizer. And there's no gap between the regulatory service and the private service. That's per se cashing out. But we just seem to have accepted it, and it's gotten so bad that there has to be something done. And that was the FDA. Let's talk about the former SEC chair, Jay Clayton. If you recall, there was a rule before the SEC that involved Apollo Group, right? And Apollo Group did not want this investigation and rule to move forward. And it just so happens that Jared Kushner gets a big $175 or more million deal. 30 days later, the SEC drops, Chairman Clayton drops the inquiry that would affect Apollo Group. And where does Clayton end up working at? A paid advisor to Apollo Group. Now, that doesn't mean that there's bribery involved. It doesn't mean there's a quid pro quo. I'm not suggesting that. What I'm suggesting is it is a blatant violation of U.S. securities laws, which says under 18 U.S.C. 208, you are not allowed to create an appearance of impropriety. Because when there's an appearance of impropriety, then the public loses faith in the institution. And we all can agree that the public has lost complete faith of the SEC. I had been disgusted about this kind of conduct and activity for years, with these special interests basically engaging in regulatory capture of our agencies. But then I read the SEC complaint against Ripple on December 22nd, 2000. And it just seemed that they took it too far, because it was unconstitutional overreach that was blatantly, it was just so blatant. And something had to be done. I mean, you know, you'll know I filed a writ of mandamus 9 days after the SEC. And I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. At that point in time, I did a video early on. We're talking about like months after the suit, called "Every Token is in Danger." And I was shocked that other people weren't seeing what I was seeing. This was unconstitutional overreach. A guy's walking out the door on his last day and he drops the most significant SEC enforcement action in a non-fraud case in modern history since 1946. And he just walks out the door and he meets with Gensler the night before doing that. And that stuff was just too much. I knew that people were going to get hurt. And I knew that that innocent people who bought XRP along with other tokens were going to be the ones harmed. And why was this such a big deal for me? I'm going to explain it to you. And some of you know this because you may have read my book, but I grew up in dirt poverty. Now, when I say, a lot of people say that they grew up poor, and they're talking about living paycheck to paycheck. Some of us didn't have a paycheck, right? It was food stamps, it was welfare, which didn't do it all. You know, it was necessary. I'm thankful for it, but it required hustling, my mother to hustle. There were times when you go to bed hungry, and I can assure you that when you look into the eyes of your mother who tells you to go to bed, but you say, "Mommy, but I'm hungry." And then you listen to your mom cry at night because she feels ashamed that she couldn't pay the put food on the table. That's something that lives with you. It exists in your core. Okay. Now, for example, let me show you just a few pics of the neighborhood, because some people say, oh, there's a tendency to graduate. Well, that's the original Model T plant that's about a mile from where I grew up. And that's what it looked like when I was a kid. And the neighborhood, this is what it looked like. Just vacant lots burned down, buildings burned down, houses on my block down the street from me. This last picture is a picture where I grew up. The house on the, it'll be your left or right. All right. That's what poverty is. Okay. And how does crypto involve with that? This is what I'm getting at. My mom didn't have a bank account until she was in her late 40s. You want to know why? Because she couldn't afford the minimum balances. It was $15 or $10 or $25, whatever it is, because every time you try to maintain that $10 balance or $15 balance, something happens and you need that money. And what does the predatory bank do to the poor? Oh, you went below the minimum. So here's a $10 fee or $25 fee. That's predatory action that takes place to those that are the poor that can't afford it. So no, my mom didn't have a bank account. And when she didn't have a bank account, where did she go to cash the welfare check that came in the mail? Well, here's where she would go, right? And you notice in the hood where they have check cashing, it so happens to be the liquor store and Western Union there and Lotto, all of those things. And they would charge 10, 15% to pay it. If my mother received Western Union from me when I got older in college and I would try to send her money, they take 10, 15%. Send $100, they're going to take 10 of it. People needed that money. All right. And so when my brother would send money, it'd be through a MoneyGram or Western Union. And so I remember my mom going to the stores begging, can you take less? Please, can you only take $5 fee instead of the $10 fee or whatever it was? Because my mom could work miracles with $2 or $3. It might have only been pinto beans cornbread and fried potatoes, but it would still be a miracle that she could do with $2 or $3. So that difference matters to people that are in poverty. It matters a big deal. It's the difference between going to bed hungry and going to bed on a full stomach. So when I thought about Bitcoin and crypto, I thought of my mom. I thought, wow, you can cut out the middle guy. You don't have to be subject to this predatory action by the banks or the MoneyGrams or the Western Unions. And then I thought beyond my mom, I thought about worldwide. A woman in Nigeria could have a smartphone and she could make straw hats and participate in an economy. I thought about freedom and capitalism and how real capitalism could be spread amongst the world. That's the concept of Bitcoin and crypto that I fell in love with. And that's why it was personal. All right. Many of you know that I'm involved in Spin the Bits, which is a payment app that charges no fee to move money from person to person, including cross borders, or it's a fraction of a penny because it's on the XRP ledger. Okay. So I don't know if crypto and Bitcoin will ever live up to that vision that attracted me. I don't know. In fact, we see something. Pompliano was on Charles Payne today. Let's play that video.
All right, folks, so Bitcoin actually hit 50,000 today, but my next guest says Bitcoin ETFs are sounding an alarm. I'm going to bring in Pomp Investments investor Anthony Pompliano. And Pomp, you say, that these Bitcoin ETFs, they're sounding the alarm. At first, it felt like everyone, including yourself, were really enthused about it. Did they not go off right? What's the hitch?
The alarm's good for Bitcoiners. If you think about what's happening right here, Wall Street's getting an intelligence test. If you paid attention in Economics 101, you're going to pass this test. There is hundreds of millions of dollars per day flowing into these Bitcoin ETFs, and there's only about $40 to $45 million of net new Bitcoin being produced. So there's 12 and a half times more demand than there is supply being created every single day. If there's that much demand and that little supply, the price has got to go up to accommodate everyone. And so my guess is that we're about to see Bitcoin continue to grind up over the next couple of weeks.
So that's the structure.
Okay, so I play that because obviously Wall Street has fallen in love with Bitcoin. We got the spot ETFs. Will Bitcoin ever be the vision of a payment? No, but that's why I looked at the other cryptos. And that's why I thought XRP was a viable payment that could solve that problem without taking such fees away from the people that need it. And so when the lawsuit came down and I realized how bad it was, if you go back to the writ of mandamus I filed 9 days after the Ripple lawsuit, 9 days. If you go back and read it, I talk about, this is before we knew of the conflicts of interest and all the things. I said this lawsuit makes no sense the way it's written unless it's political revenge or personal gain of the regulators. Or I said, or there was a deal struck and they're using this case to come against all of crypto. That was written way back then, 9 days after the lawsuit. So somebody had to fight back. I did. It inspired many of you. You joined me, which inspired even more. And that's when we came up with this concept called decentralized justice. And it's what CryptoLaw is all about. Now, if you go to CryptoLaw, you'll see we have that video library where I simply use you sleuths out there, the people that have helped assemble this evidence where we document just the facts. Here are the facts. Here are videos of people, what they say. Now, I got blocked by some of the biggest names in crypto on social media. All I did was here are the facts. I didn't even make any editorial comments or criticism. I just said, here are the facts. This person met on this day. This person met them. They sent the memo to Hinman, blah, blah, blah. Right. And so some people don't like the facts. We inspired Empower Oversight based on what we did. Empower Oversight made a referral for an investigation into the Inspector General report. Maybe someday we'll see something come of that. Connect to Congress tab, a revolutionary tab that we established, and over 100,000 messages went to your representatives, all 100 senators, and every congressman or woman in the House received a message from one of you out there. All right. And we had our questions were asked at congressional hearings. I know many of you are frustrated. I'm frustrated at how much effort it takes to effectuate change, but it's happening. It may be a snail's pace, but it's happening. We are making a difference. Judge Torres cited our work twice, no one else's, ours. We are making a difference, something I'm very proud of, because again, this was all done organically, without compensation, without monetization or any of that. As I said before, there are no sponsors. I've turned down multiple tokens. John, will you promote this? John, promote that? No, right? Other than getting involved with Spin the Bits, I've had, in which I gave my money. We didn't ask anybody for money, and we haven't, and we won't, because of what we want to do with crypto, allowing people to own an asset and trade it without these predatory institutions taking part of it from us. Now, so as we move forward, CryptoLaw will continue to deliver facts. All right, I plan for CryptoLaw to continue moving forward, being that site that just gives the facts. We will bring on different voices moving forward. We will bring on folks that disagree with me. You know, I believe the SEC is absolutely out of control. I think it's so bad, it's better without an SEC. Now, if they were focusing on fraud and things like that, maybe I would change my mind. But the 2024 election is going to be a big year. CryptoLaw will be covering it. They will be covering the Senate races that matter, such as Sherrod Brown, who is the chairman of the banking committee, Elizabeth Warren's race in Massachusetts. Crypto is going to have a voice. In fact, let's play me and Anthony Scaramucci that took place last month. You own Algo, and I know you own Bitcoin, right? You're one of 55 million Americans that own this asset class. 1 out of 4 adults owned crypto. People in the United States want access to this asset class. And so what we're seeing right now is the control factor.
So interesting. It's a great quote, the 55 million. We now think it could be closer to 70 million because of the introduction of the ETFs.
All right. Now, 70 plus million Americans have exposure to this asset class. But what you need to understand, everybody, when you move outside of the crypto world, in this 2024 election, cryptocurrency is not a top 10. It's not even a top 5 issue, kitchen table issue between hardworking, regular families discussing. You know, it's about inflation, illegal immigration, housing costs. But what crypto needs to do is focus it off tokens and blockchain technologies. It's really about freedom. And in fact, a friend of mine coined the phrase. He was talking about the 2024 election, and he said to me, and I'm going to steal it, he said, John, freedom is on the line. And that's the freedom to own a legal asset that you believe is good for you and your family if you're trying to build wealth. It may not be. It may turn out to be a bad investment. Who knows? But you have the ability in this country to be free to choose what you decide to own and not own, as long as it's a legal asset. And as we know, because we were successful in getting XRP, is a legal asset. As Judge Torres said, it is not an unregistered security. Bitcoin is not an unregistered security. So more and more people are focusing more on not the tokens themselves, but freedom of choice. That's what the message has to be. CryptoLaw won't take sides in their 2024 election coverage. I can assure you that. It's not about being Republican or Democrat. It's not about red versus blue. It's not about rich versus poor, black versus white, gay versus straight. Don't let them divide you, because the division is what they want in order to keep power. That's what it's all about, maintaining power. And the voters have to recognize that. So CryptoLaw will continue to cover the fight. Me, well, I'm a Marine, so I'm going to go where the fight is needed the most. And I'll just leave it at that. And so all I can say is pay attention, follow CryptoLaw. Is going to be exciting as we move forward. And maybe I'll see you next week.